So
get
how
into
many
school.
points should a black student get over a white student in admissions?
I think that SAT scores and points shouldn't be the only thing referenced.
But you have to answer the question because the status quo.
But it's not that black and white.
It is. So it is because that's why affirmative action was struck down by the Supreme Court.
But we're not talking about affirmative action. We're talking about.
If you work for something like the SAT, you should get it. And yes, if you score higher than someone else, you should get more scholarships.
I'm open to learning and being informed, but I do believe we have a disagreement when it comes to DEI. You think it stands for didn't earn it. Essentially that colleges are dropping the bar, but I think they're just opening the door. So for example, a recent Harvard analysis by Topiconomics found that students from the wealthiest 1% of families are 13 times more likely to score in the 1300 plus range for the SAT than students from the poorest families. And I don't think that's because rich kids are 13 times smarter, but it's because they have access to better schools, private tutors, test prep, everything, right? And according to the University of California, they show that family background accounts for 40% of the variance in SAT/ACT scores among UC applicants. I would also like to mention that the...
Okay, so this is the DEI debate. This debate has been going on for the past 20,000 years, and college students, obviously, it impacts them the most. She supports DEI, he doesn't support it, and she's bringing up statistics from basically richer families performing better on tests like the SAT and the ACT, which are prerequisite tests that you need to take. Nowadays, you need to take them to get into colleges. And the higher your score, the better the college you can get into and the more scholarships you get. She's saying that richer students naturally get higher scores and poorer students naturally get lower scores. I'm going to give my thoughts on this a little later because I have a master's degree in electrical engineering, so I know a little bit about these tests. I'm done with school though, but let's get into it.
Diversity in society's leaders, the casual effects of admissions at highly selective private colleges. A study shown by the National Bureau of Economic Research that I think that if you think it's based on race, at times I think it's based on wealth. So legacy applicants, children of donors, and recruited athletes were significantly more likely to be admitted than other students with the same academic credentials. So elite schools like Harvard, legacy students are about 5 to 6 times more likely to be admitted than non-legacy students with similar SAT scores. Roughly 43% of white students admitted to Harvard from 2000 to 2015 fell into one of the 4 categories, right? Legacy, athletes, deans, interestless, or children of faculty or staff. 3/4 of these ALDC admits, 75%, would not have been admitted if evaluated only on academic credentials. My question is, I guess, do you believe that DEI could possibly not stand for diversity, equity, and didn't earn it, but can stand for actual diversity, that diversity of abilities? When you go into a job or to a school, they don't just ask for your SAT score. They ask what kind of clubs you were into. They ask you to submit an essay. They are a holistic academic review. So why do you think it means didn't earn it? If maybe they got a less SAT score, but them as a person are just more well-rounded than the person who had all these tutors but did nothing outside of it.
What yeah. Tell me do you know anything about the Students for Fair Admission case, the Supreme Court case at Harvard?
I would love to hear about it.
Yeah. So basically at Harvard, Asian and white students, they basically got 200 to 400 points knocked off of their score versus black and Hispanic students. So it was disenfranchising white and Asian students. So if you support DEI, let's say you're in charge. Do you think that we should have all test scores be weighed the same? Or do you think that certain ethnic groups should get certain points because of their race?
I believe that we should acknowledge the fact that certain students have a different starting point, and I would love to give everybody the opportunity to
So
get
how
into
many
school.
points should a black student get over a white student in admissions?
I think that SAT scores and points shouldn't be the only thing referenced.
But you have to answer the question because the status quo...
But it's not that black and white.
It is. So it is because that's why affirmative action was struck down by the Supreme
But
Court.
we're not talking about affirmative action. We're talking about DEI.
DEI is an outgrowth. Affirmative action is an outgrowth of DEI.
I'm gonna get real personal here. Because, like I said, I have a master's degree in engineering, and it wasn't easy at all. It was very hard. But I remember when I took the SAT, and I grew up in a 2-parent household. I never had to work when I was in high school. I never had to do none of that. The first time I took the SAT, I did terribly. I did so bad that I knew I wasn't going to get any scholarships from it. I knew I wasn't going to do anything. And after I took it, I was extremely embarrassed because I had it made for myself. I had it made, but I thought it was going to be easy. I thought it was going to be sweet because I always had a 4.0 GPA in school, and I thought it was just going to be nothing for me, but I was wrong. And my score was low. So what I did for the following months is just study. I studied, and my score went up almost 400 points. I got into every single school I applied for. I got into some of the even I got into one of the best schools in my state at the time, and I got a full ride scholarship to go to the college that I went to. And looking back, I could have worked harder. I definitely could have worked harder. And the thing is, I didn't work as hard as I could, and because of that, I didn't get an amazing, perfect score. But I could have if I would have really locked in. But here's the thing: I have a little cousin, and my little cousin doesn't have both parents in the household. He lives in a one-bedroom household. He has 2 little siblings that he takes care of. And he's basically by himself. He doesn't have no money. He does everything by himself. Lives with his grandmother, with 2 younger siblings that he takes care of, make sure they eat, make sure they go to school. And I sent him an SAT book. About a year ago. And he's still in high school right now. And tell me why this youngin got 100 points higher than I got. He got 100 points higher than I got. His family has less money. He doesn't live in a 2-parent household. He had to work when he was in school. All of it. He had to take care of younger siblings. I didn't have to. And he got 100 points higher than me. And all I sent him was a book. When I was in high school, my mom got me tutors and all that when I told her I wanted to take it. Mind you, I didn't stay at the tutors, but she did. She bought me all the books. And I didn't do as good as him. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because it just goes to show that your work ethic will get you more than anything. My little cousin, he had less resources than me, less money than my family, and more worries, and he scored 100 points higher than me. Where's the privilege there? And I'm using my own life. I'm not using outside lives. I'm using my own failures. Where's the privilege there? If you work for something like the SAT, you should get it. And yes, if you score higher than someone else, you should get more scholarships. You should get more opportunities. I don't care if it's 200 points. I don't care about their background, what they failed at. It is what it is. But let's continue.
DEI and vice versa. But let me give you another example of DEI. Do you think if I say to a group, let's say of Hispanic and Black people, if I say you people, is that a microaggression?
Say that again. I'm so sorry.
If I was talking to a group of Hispanic or Black people and I happen to say you people, is that a microaggression?
I would think so, yes.
Okay, I think that's insane.
Why?
Because it's not a microaggression or racism to call any group of people you people. That's DEI in practice. So you guys might know about the group of clowns in the circus group of the Dean on F America thing. They fell apart in 1 week because one Black woman called Dean and Parker racist because they were associated with a woman who called a group of Black women you people, and they said you did not recognize microaggression. That's DEI in practice, where you could lose your entire job and your career for one misstatement. And you just showed it to me. Like, you think that's a microaggression to say you people to a group of Hispanic and Black people? Mm-hmm. We should not be policing the speech of people. Instead, we should be caring about one thing, and that's merit and merit only when we put together our institutions.
Mm-hmm. But if you base it on meritocracy, like I said, you're initially bringing in wealthy people who have these tutors but aren't well-rounded.
So what? That doesn't mean anything. Yes, the degree of how good your parents are matter. Yes. If you have good...
I will say this. When it comes to college admissions and saying we should be focused on merit and merit-based only, that doesn't always work. And I'll use an example of a school like MIT, for example. MIT. everyone that MIT considers is qualified to go to MIT. And I'm not saying everyone who applies. I'm saying everyone that they consider is qualified to go there. So they kind of have to look at other things that are like not really shown in test scores and in grades. They have to, because there's a limited amount of spots and there's a lot of applicants. So when you go to the top of the top schools, like the Ivy Leagues and the top 10 in your state and MIT, the people that they consider, they're all qualified. So you literally have to look at other things. The problem though is when there's a average, when you look at the average, like for example, race, and on average they're showing consistency in being biased towards a race, then there's a problem. What I mean by that is if it's just proven that on average black students have 200 points lower in their SAT, or they have 0.2 points lower in their GPA, and this is like a recurring statistic, then there's a problem. But in general, when it comes to college admissions, merit or grades and scores just can't be used all the time. Because if all the students are qualified, you're going to have 10,000 people who have perfect GPAs. You're going to have 10,000 people who have perfect SAT scores applying to Harvard per year. How can they admit them all? Like, you literally cannot do it. So, nonetheless, y'all guys get what I'm saying. Let's continue.
Parents, you get something that people with bad parents don't get. That's applicable beyond college.
But with the people who score higher, let's say they didn't do anything, they are less likely to be able to take on challenges than the people who... Why wouldn't it matter?
Because inherently you are penalizing those with good parents. The only way you can make this work...
You're not penalizing
Yes, you are.
them. No, you're not excluding them.
Not true. It is the only way. We see this. In order to elevate equity, you must compromise excellence. And that's fine if that's your position, because there's only so many spots, there's only so many places, and if you have a lot of qualified people and you want to try to get not as qualified people, you have to prevent the qualified people and elevate the unqualified people. That's what the Students for Fair Admissions case showed us.
You're thinking that DEI is versus excellence. I think DEI is for excellence.
Got it. Show me one institution that got better the more it embraced DEI.
What? One institution that got better that embraced DEI.
Yeah. That got smarter, more competitive, leaner, more productive, and that was better than it was 10 years ago. Are our airports more efficient? Are we landing planes better? Are our airlines better? Is our government better? Is our schools better? Is our universities better? Show me one example. Is our public health authorities better? Show me one institution that's embraced DEI that has become better, more excellent than it was 20 years ago. It doesn't exist. DEI will destroy an institution from within.
Let me ask you...
I will say this. It's hard to say what institutions got better, but you could say institutions got more profitable, such as Apple. Apple introduced DEI, and Apple is definitely more profitable today than it was 10 years ago. However, just because it's more profitable, just because it makes more money, does not mean that it's necessarily better. Nonetheless, what institutions do you guys think has gotten better? He actually raises a pretty interesting point. Have there been any institutions that just improved dramatically because of DEI? Off the top of the head, I can't really name one. I don't even know how I would answer that. If you look at the government, possibly. I've never really researched that. What do you guys think, though? Do y'all guys agree with him or you disagree? Let's continue.
Another question. When COVID happened, they removed the SAT scores, yet the graduation rates for Harvard were still the same. Do you think that because of... Sorry. With that being said, since ACT wasn't even considered, schools are accepting people with the potential to succeed. Because once you get in, you're still going off the same merit as everybody else.
A lot of people drop out that are... the problem with Harvard is that they now have professors, the ton of them, that are saying they have to retake courses and remedial courses because these kids should never be here in the first place. And they happen to be a lot of black and Hispanic kids that were let in strictly because of the color of their skin. So I guess my question is, do you care about the racial makeup of a college?
The racial makeup of a college?
Like if a college was all white or all Asian, would that bother you?
I think it would stop them from being able to see different perspectives and thus improve their systems and improve the quality of their operation.
But why is diversity only skin color? Can't a bunch of white people also disagree?
Well, think of it this way. If I like my mom went to the hospital or something, and let's say English is good, but her Spanish isn't. Oh, her Spanish is good, but the English not so much, right? It would help that if a person who is Hispanic or no Spanish would be the one helping her. She'd feel more comfortable with that person because she understands and relates.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you're in America. You should learn English. I don't know what to tell you, but...
No, she is.
Good. I mean, I'm not trying to be insensitive or cruel.
English, but
yeah,
she
look,
would rather be with a Hispanic nurse versus one that doesn't, so she could speak comfortably.
As an organization, you must prioritize something. We think that excellence should be we must have an uncompromising pursuit and commitment to excellence and not equity. And we believe the more that we embrace this kind of culture of mediocrity, excellence will slip. And again, I could go through, at the core, DEI wants a lot of things, including racial quotas. We don't believe in racial quotas. Our best institutions would fall apart with racial quotas. We want excellence quotas and the best and the ones that earned it to be able to get in those positions. Thank you for your good faith conversation.
Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know if you guys support what he's saying or you don't support it. It's a pretty interesting debate when it comes to DEI. As long as we have fairness across the board, I think it'll be all right. It should just be fair. No one wants to consider whether or not their race got them something or didn't get them something. I don't even know when this debate started. Nonetheless, my name is Jojo, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.